Hello, everyone. Welcome to Big League Dreaming, the podcast, a show about baseball, dreams, and family. I'm John Gonzalez, the dad, and if you're new to the podcast or old to the podcast, you might know that this formula is pretty simple. It's a dad and his three sons talking about the game they love. And oftentimes, folks, we're talking about Major League Baseball, and that is the topic of today. Way too early playoff predictions. We're recording today on August 7, 2025, and some things, the trade deadline has passed, and some things are clearing up about who might make this year's playoffs. Before we get talk about the playoffs, let's introduce the sons on the show. We got two out of the three. Let's start with son number one. He's based in Charlotte, North Carolina. He's our Mariners fan, probably the happiest of the bunch. Say hello to Zach Gonzalez.
Hey guys, I'm doing great, Dad. How are you doing tonight?
It could be better. Rough day yesterday. Going to the day game for the Tigers versus Twins. We should have won that game easily, but lost 2 out of 3 to the Twins. And your Mariners pulled off 3 in a row, right? They could sweep.
Yeah, swept the White Sox, and now they're hosting Tampa Bay Rays this weekend. And they're only a game and a half out of first place behind Houston. Pretty crazy. The acquisitions of Josh Naylor and Geno Suarez have just really lit a fire under this team, and they're getting production from, feels like, all 9 guys in the lineup. It's weird having an offensive team. I'm not used to it, but it's kind of fun.
We'll talk more about the Mariners, the breakdown, and who are these stars all of a sudden emerging for the Mariners team. Let's go to son number 3. He's based in South Bend, Indiana. He's our Red Sox fan. It's Zane Gonzalez. Zane, how you doing?
Doing well. Excited to talk playoffs. It might be a little bit early, and we'll probably get some stuff wrong, but it'll be a lot of fun.
I don't know. A lot of these leaders, I was looking at the standings right before we went on the air here, and a lot of them have been there pretty much all season long. Will they remain? We'll find out on our way too early playoff predictions here on Big League Dreaming, the podcast. We should mention son number 2. He is our resident Mets fan. He's based in Grand Rapids, Michigan. He is not available today. He's got some production going on with his podcast. By the way, they do a great podcast, he and his wife Katie. It's called TK Top Tunes. If you're into music, folks, and you want to get some reaction videos, Ty and Katie do a great job. TK Top Tunes, wherever you get your podcasts, Spotify, also on YouTube. Check them out. They're a lot of fun to listen to, and great chemistry, a great husband and wife team. All right, so my team, I'm based here in Grand Rapids and Saginaw, and I root for the Tigers. As I mentioned yesterday, was a rough day. I know, Zane, you before you get to your Red Sox, you had a bold prediction early in the season about my Tigers, that they weren't going to sustain the win percentage that they had earlier in the year.
Yeah, I mean, early in the year, like, they were off to an insane start, but like I said, like, they'll probably come out of the Central. The Central isn't phenomenal. The AL in general isn't that crazy this year. So I figured they'll be in the playoffs, but in terms of them making a run, it's kind of hard, and you're kind of starting to see as the year has gone on, like, they hit those bumps in the road, and then you start to get that feeling where it's like, man, the only time we win is if Scooble's on the mound. It's our only shot. And the Red Sox went through that too early in the year. It was like, man, the only time you have a chance to win is if Crochet's pitching. But that's just part of it with the Tigers. They don't have a lot of star power. They have a lot of role guys, and that's just going to be the waves of it. They're going to have ups and downs, and like I said early in the year, like, there's going to be guys coming off the IL, and you kind of see what that's done to those role players. Their ABs start to go away. They start to get at bats once a series, and they're not going to translate right away.
They're feeling the pressure a little bit. I know last year it was a different vibe for the Tigers because they had to have that mad rush at the end to make the playoffs. This year, I mean, a lot of young players. I noticed Riley Green, is really struggling at the plate because I think there's a pressure now, right? They were leading all year long. Now they're trying to just hold on to the lead, and some of these guys have never been tested that way before. Zach, your Mariners, they're an interesting bunch. We'll talk more about them, but what are your take on the Tigers real quick?
Yeah, I think their offense is just slowing down a little bit. Like we've said plenty of times before, hitting is contagious. I feel like it only takes 1 or 2 guys to really get going, and they can turn things around again. the benefit for the Tigers is that the American League Central is very bad, so they're gonna more highly likely they're gonna win the AL Central this year, and from there on, you're in the driver's seat because you're gonna be hosting that first round of playoffs that you play in. So I think right now the Tigers just need to get some balls to kind of fall their way, get a couple guys hot, and start having some fun again.
And get a pitcher beyond Skubal that's going to be consistent. It's been a little rough there. Flaherty looked rough yesterday, starting for the Tigers. Since we have our teams, one in the West, one in the Central, one in the East, let's stay with the American League before we get to National League. I guess let's start in the American League East. Zane, where your Red Sox are currently, as of August 7th, number 2 behind the Toronto Blue Jays. 4 games back, 8-2 over the last 10 games. Toronto's been playing some pretty good baseball. What do you think there? You think it's going to be Toronto winning the AL East?
I think it's going to be kind of a mad dash to the finish line between Toronto, Boston, and New York. The Yankees have been on a really tough skid lately. I think they're like 3-7, 4-6 in their last 10, something like that. They're playing some pretty rough baseball right now. But they went out and made a bunch of moves during the trade deadline to kind of bolster their bullpen a little bit and lock down third base. And, we'll see what that does for them. I mean, they've just been hitting bumps in the road, making bad baseball decisions on the bases. You see it all the time. And so the Yankees, but they got some solid pitching that can potentially carry them. I mean, the Blue Jays have been kind of a surprise this year across MLB. I don't think anyone was really expecting them to make this big of a push and make this large of a gap at this point in the year, especially with the way the Yankees got off to the season. It was similar to the Tigers, right? So hot, and then next thing you know, the Blue Jays get really hot, and now they're sitting on top. And I think if they kind of hold it up a little bit and keep pace, they'll obviously win the East. And I think the Red Sox, they're my team, but I think they're gonna, the way they're playing right now, they're playing fun, they're playing loose, like Zach was talking about. They're not feeling a lot of pressure when they're playing, and they're getting those hits that are dropping in, right? They played the Royals the other day, and it was a close game. Crochet was pitching, it was like 2-1, and they just needed some insurance run, and it was just like blooper, 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 and runs are coming around. And same thing against the Astros the series before that. It was like bunt, not fielded, bunt, not fielded, and next thing you know, they've put up 5-6 runs against the Astros. And the things are just kind of going their way right now, and the pitching's really turned a corner. And you have some really good young pieces with the Red Sox, which has been a lot of fun to watch. But I think the Blue Jays do probably end up winning the division. The Red Sox, I think they're going to make the playoffs finally for the first time since 2021. It's been a little while for them. And if the Yankees keep this up, I don't know if they're going to make the playoffs at all.
Right now, the Yankees would be the 3rd team in the wild card behind the Red Sox, have a 2.5 game lead. Seattle is second in the wild card race, up 1.5 games, and the Yankees are the 3rd team, right on their tail, the Cleveland Guardians. Zach, East prediction for you? You like Toronto too, like Zane?
I haven't really watched much Blue Jays baseball, but I know George Springer has been hitting out of his mind lately. I know he actually just he's in concussion protocol right now because he took a fastball to the helmet. I think he should be coming back possibly next week. But Bo Bichette, I know he's been hitting really well too. Obviously, they have Vlad, who's kind of the corner piece of that offense. I don't know. I feel like with the AL East, you never know what's going to happen between those kind of top couple teams. If the Blue Jays fell out of this, it wouldn't surprise me at all. Just because of the way the Yankees and the Red Sox kind of beat up, kind of how that whole AL East beats up on each other. I could see some things moving around. So, no, I don't think the Blue Jays are a lock at all to win the East.
Well, even a team like Tampa Bay, which you kind of look at the wild card, and we just focused on Boston, Seattle, and New York, and Cleveland a little bit. Texas is a game and a half. Kansas City 4.5 back. Tampa Bay is only 4.5 back in the wild card. So, like you said, I mean, who knows what'll happen in the East? But so, who is your prediction there?
I think the Yankees will come back and win the East. I mean, they have Judge coming back. Giancarlo Stanton's really swinging it. I don't know. The Yankees just scare me.
It's a short
All right,
porch.
well-
Short porch always gets you.
Yep.
Every time. Well, I'm gonna say that Boston does it. I'm gonna say Boston. There's a little magic there this year. I'm excited for Zane. You know, I love his City Connect hat there. I think Boston, for some reason, just feels right for them. I think Yankees struggles. The thing that bothers me about the Yankees, about them winning, is defensively they've been horrible. And even with Judge coming back, you still got to be able to stop the other team from scoring. So I don't like the Yankees' chances at all. I think they're going to go into another tailspin even with Judge coming back. But we'll see what happens with that. Let's go to the American League Central. We talked a lot about the Tigers already. But I still think, like Zane said, I still think they win it. But it'll be down to the wire. It's going to come down to those last few games, the last series of the season. I believe we play the Braves, so that should be a lot of fun. Zach, how about you? You think the Tigers are going to win this thing?
Yeah, I think the Tigers will win the Central. I just don't think the Guardians have the firepower to jump that many teams and surpass the Tigers. Even though they're playing some fun baseball right now, Gavin Williams took that no-hitter into the 9th inning the other day. And Kyle Manzardo is having a breakout season for the Guardians over at first base. Obviously, Jose Ramirez holds it down every single season. But I don't think they catch the Tigers.
Yeah. Good. I'm glad we're all in agreement there. And then let's go to the West. Obviously, Zach, you're most concerned about this division. I know that Houston has been leading kind of toward the middle to second half of the first half, and Texas has fallen off a little bit. Your Mariners are playing some good baseball. The trade deadline was good to them. I watched the walk-off win today. So, I don't know why the Mariners couldn't pull this off.
Yeah, the Mariners have pitching, and to go with that offense that they've just came out of nowhere. I mean, Randy Arozarena has already matched his career high in home runs. He's having an unbelievable season. Julio is just doing his thing. He doesn't need to do too much, and he's playing with more fun because the pressure's off of him. It's not his team anymore. It's Cal Raleigh's team, and now Randy's your second best hitter. Josh Naylor and Suarez are your third and fourth best hitter. Julio's your fifth best hitter, and he can finally breathe and be that singles hitter that he wants to be. and yeah, it's been fun. They'll have Bryce Miller coming off the IL soon here. Hopefully he can return to what he did last year with his breakout season. I think he had a 1.94 ERA over all of his starts, which he doesn't even need to be that guy. But if he can at least contribute, and you take Logan Evans, your fifth starter, out of that rotation, replace him with a number 3 level starter, then the Mariners are going to be one of the toughest teams to go up against in the playoffs.
Yeah, I think the addition of Naylor and Suarez really helped that team offensively. I watched them play against the Tigers, as you know, and we lost some horrible games at Comerica Park. Tough to watch. But I will tell you this. This is one thing I did notice. And I don't know if I mentioned this on the last podcast. I may have. Obviously, the season tickets I have are on the first base side, so we're sitting with Mariners fans and watching the Mariners dugout quite a bit as the players are coming off the field. They're fun to watch in between innings, interacting with the crowd, laughing with them, talking to people in the crowd, right? Coming off the field, throwing baseballs into the crowd. I mean, they really play it up. They're a fans team. I can see why people would love those players. Arozarena, Julio, just by the first base side, up talking to fans. 4 or 5 rows back, they're talking to fans. Not just one inning, every inning. It's fun to watch them.
Yeah, you can tell just by watching them, they're all having so much fun. And even like the role players are having fun too. So I don't know. I really hope this is the year we can get back to the playoffs since 2022. I think it will be. I don't want to jinx it. But if if the starting pitching can continue to do what they're doing after that shaky first half, and now that we have an offensive, like an actual lineup, like 5 guys in our lineup that are legit dudes, it's a game changer for sure.
Well, your team definitely did a good job at the trade deadline. You have a hitting out lineup now, like you said, to match your pitching. So the Tigers did not do as well. We'll talk about them in another podcast. Zane, real quick, you're liking the Mariners' chances, or are you liking Texas or Houston?
I think the Mariners get in with a wild card spot. I think the addition of Correa to the Astros is going to give them a little bit of a spark. And I know they haven't been phenomenal post trade deadline with him, but the Astros played the Red Sox right after the trade deadline, and you could tell that there was a little bit of a spark there with him. And they haven't played at home yet. While we're recording this, they haven't played home since the trade deadline. So, once they get back to home and, Correa can get that ovation and they can get that crowd pumped again and get that feeling, I think they're going to really start to mesh together and kind of run away with the West. But the team I'm kind of really watching is the Rangers. The Rangers is a team that I think a lot of people are, don't really notice how good their pitching is. Like, their pitching is so good this year. Like, Eovaldi's having a really good season. He's had like a couple bumps in the road with some flare-ups with his arm, but over the course of the entire season, he's had a really good year. And their pitching has, DeGrom, I think, had a pretty good year coming back. So I think the Rangers are gonna sneak in with that wild card spot. When I was talking about, I think the Yankees might drop out. I think this is the year where we might see 3 West teams in the playoffs.
Wow. Good prediction there. I like it, Zane. All right, so we're saying Zane likes the Houston, Seattle, and Texas.
Yep, and then I think the Red Sox are going to be that other wild card team with Seattle and Texas.
And then Toronto still with the win?
Yeah, I think Toronto takes the East, Tigers take the Central, and that's your 6 teams.
All right, how about you, Zach? Your 6 teams?
Yankees win the East, Tigers win the Central, Mariners win the West, and then I'd say Boston, Houston, and then I guess the Blue Jays, but I really want to see the Tampa Bay Rays be a fun sleeper team.
Yeah, they made some good moves.
They did.
In the trade deadline. They added some good bullpen pieces. They added some good offensive pieces as well.
They sure did. I think it would be fun to see them go on a fun little streak here and kind of do what the Tigers did at the end of last season and see if they can kind of sneak in there out of nowhere.
All right. I like it. Those are your 6 teams. I'm going to go with Boston in the East, Tigers in the Central, Mariners in the West. I guess all of our favorite teams. I love it. And then I'm going to say Houston will make it. I'm going to say Texas will make it. And I'm going to agree with you, Zach. I like the Rays quite a bit. So got to see them play at Comerica Park too. So those would be my 6 teams making it in the playoffs in the American League. All right, so thanks again, folks. You're listening to Big League Dreaming, the podcast. It's way too early to make our playoff predictions for 2025. The trade deadline just got over not too long ago, and there's still a lot of baseball left to play. But we're going to make these predictions right now on the podcast. All right, let's go over to the National League. And right now, as it sits on today, we've got Philadelphia leading in the East with 65 wins. We've got Milwaukee at 70 wins in the Central, and the Dodgers in the West with 66 wins. Milwaukee, clearly the hottest team in baseball probably right now. They've just been on fire. And then you've got in the wild card, you've got the Cubs with a 3.5 game lead if it was over today. Padres with a 1 game lead, and the Mets still hanging on. Ties Mets with the 3rd wild card spot. Let's go to the National League East because I don't know about you guys, but that Philadelphia team, man, they just scare me. I watched those games against the Tigers, and I just was like, holy cow, Schwarber, Bryce Harper, this Christopher Sanchez pitcher was just unbelievable. I don't know. That could? They were saying that could be possibly be a World Series matchup between the Phillies and the Tigers. I don't know if the Tigers make it that far this year, but I would love to see that. Zach, what are your thoughts on? I guess let's go to Zane. Zane, what are your thoughts on the American League or National League East?
Yeah, I mean, I think you kind of put it well. Like the Phillies are a very scary team. You know, I think any team that's ran by Dave Dombrowski, you got to be scared, right? Like, he went out and made moves. He got one of the better closers in the game, in Duran from the Twins. You know, they picked up Harrison Bader to put in their outfield from the Twins as well. You know, the Phillies just, I don't know. When you go to Citizens Bank Park and you feel that electricity there, like they're going to be a scary team. I think the Phillies, you know, run away with the East, and you know, but I do think the Mets, you know, sneak in there with the wild card spot. I know they're kind of hanging on with the Reds playing some decent baseball as of late, and the Mets struggling. But I still think, you know, with 40 games left, just over 40 games, you know, I think the Mets, their offense turns it around a little bit, and you know, I think the Mets make it in with a wild card, but I think the Phillies win the division.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. I mean, to me, it's the Phillies, no question about it. Mets will probably hold on, but you know, you never know about this Marlins team. I mean, they've shown some really that they're playing some good baseball here and there, so you never know. Let's go to Zach. Zach, what do you think about the National League West?
East.
I'm sorry, the East. Thanks, Zach.
East, I agree. I think the Phillies are an absolutely dynamic team. I don't know if the Mets have the ability to catch them, but you know, Mets have some stars too. So it wouldn't totally shock me, but I feel like these National League races as a whole are not as fun as the American League side. And last year it was the complete opposite. Like, Zane, do you remember last year there was like the little line of wild card, you're either in or out, and there was like 4 National League teams like right on the outside, like half game, 1 game, a game and a half game.
Yep.
That was crazy. Yep. It's not like that this year.
No.
There's definitely a little more separation this year, and especially between like those like first couple teams out, and then that third and fourth team, like the Cardinals and Marlins that are next out. Like those teams are like barely 500 or just under 500. Like there's a lot of separation in that wild card era, whereas the AL it's a lot tighter for the wild card, where the divisions are a little more separated.
In the National League Central, like I said, the Brewers are 70-44. They've been playing some really good baseball. The Cubs have dropped off after a hot start. But in the Central, you know, it looks like it's Milwaukee's to lose.
Yeah, I mean, Milwaukee's been unreal this year. You know, it's been awesome to see them make that turn and play really consistent baseball. And this is, I think last year when we did our end of the season award predictions, I think I picked Pat Murphy as Manager of the Year was my prediction, and I don't think he ended up winning NL Manager of the Year. But you know, this is why I picked him. Like, he's a phenomenal manager, a phenomenal baseball guy, and he's got the Brewers firing on all cylinders. And you know, I think this is probably their year to make a good run of the playoffs. It's been a while since we've seen the Brewers take a run. I can't remember the last time the Brewers made a really big run. It was probably back when they had Ryan Braun and Prince Fielder was probably the last time they were having a lot of fun over there. That was probably back when they got CC Sabathia at the trade deadline.
Yeah, it's amazing. How about you, Zach?
Yeah, I think the Brewers got it. They've been a lot of fun to watch. Ever since they called up Jacob Mizorowski, it's like their team is everywhere. They're always being talked about on MLB Network and on, you know, the MLB social media accounts and things like that. They just posted first to 70 wins. You know, like, it's all Brewers everything right now. It's super cool for a smaller market team to get this kind of recognition. It's good for the sport. Hopefully Mizorowski can come off the injured list and be you know, productive in the playoffs. I'm not sure what his status is, how long he'll be out. But yeah, Brewers are a super fun team to watch. They're my pick to win the Central.
And then the National League West, I mean, I think earlier this season, I didn't think the Dodgers would lose a game all year. Then they showed they had some, there were some problems with the Dodgers. Ohtani got hurt, so they've shown that they might not be the team. I think the Padres came on really hot there, but the Dodgers, I mean, we're toward the end of the season now, and the Dodgers are back in front, 2 games up over the Padres, and 8 games ahead of the Giants, who also look like they were going to make a little run there. But I think this is the Dodgers. I think if the Dodgers win this thing, hands down. What do you think, Zach?
Yeah, I think so too. They have the 6-man rotation right now, and adding Emmett Sheehan into that rotation has been really good for them. Even though he was backing up Ohtani for a little bit, he's kind of won his place in the rotation with the Dodgers. They're just an injury team. They always get hurt, but they have so many darn good players. It doesn't even phase them. And I don't know why pitchers keep wanting to go there, because they always go on the injury list. But I mean, when at the end of the year, if you got a ring to show for it, then it's hard to say no to that.
Zane, what do you think? Do the Padres have a chance?
I mean, I think the Padres have a really good chance. I think they're kind of playing more the long game with what you saw them do at the trade deadline, trading a lot of their top prospects to bring in arms like Mason Miller into their bullpen. You could tell they're selling out for this year, but I don't think they're selling out for the division. I think they're playing the long game, and of the playoffs and how important bullpen and scoring runs is. Machado is really taking off with that offense and leading the charge. So I think the Padres do have a decent chance to win the division, but I don't think they're going to, and I don't think that's their end-all, be-all goal. I think their goal is to be a wild card team, and I know it's a little bit tougher as a wild card team to make it all the way through, but I think that's kind of what they're set up for. I think they're set up to be a fun team that catches fire and makes a push in the playoffs with Tatis and Machado, and the squad that they got over there. So I think the Dodgers do win the division despite all their injuries. You can tell they still find a way to win games with the next guy up. That's kind of their mentality with how many injuries they have, and it's going to be a fun race once we get to the actual playoffs. But I think the Dodgers do win the division, and the Padres just be a wild card team.
Well, in our way too early playoff predictions in the 2025 season, for me, guys, I don't think this changes from where we're at the moment. Milwaukee wins the Central. Philadelphia wins the East. The Dodgers win the West. Wild card, you have Cubs up by 3.5, Padres up by 1, and the Mets are the third team in a wild card. I don't think it's going to change. How about you, Zach?
I mean, how boring is that?
I know. I don't see how Cincinnati gets in. I don't see how the Giants get in. The Cardinals are 5.5 back. The Marlins 6 back. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really like the Reds, and they're the closest team. They're 3 games out of that last wild card spot to surpass the Mets. I feel like for a team like the Reds, Giants, Cardinals, Marlins to get in and get that final wild card spot, I feel like something would have to go wrong for one of those top 6 teams. There'd have to be an injury or two, or one of them goes on a losing streak, Padres lose 6 in a row or something like that, and the Reds but I just don't see it happening. I think the only way one of those teams would sneak in is if one of the top 6 teams were to screw up.
Yeah, fair enough.
Zane? Yeah, I think the only way the Reds get in is if it comes down to the last day of the season. It's 162, like back when the Rays got in by hitting a walk-off and the Red Sox got walked off in Baltimore, when Longoria hit that home run. I think it's going to be, if the Reds get in, it's got to be something like that. Someone in that wild card hunt just hits a horrendous skid at the end of the year.
Yeah. Well, we didn't think the Tigers were going to be able to do it last year, and they did, so I guess anything can happen, right?
Yeah, go Marlins. Yes.
Go Marlins.
That'd be crazy.
That would be crazy. So, yeah, you just never know what's going to happen. You're right, Zach. That is boring prediction on my part, but I just don't know how it changed. I don't see any scenario, even, someone getting hot, someone getting hurt, These teams that are at the top are that good, right? That they're going to rebound from any of those situations.
Right. I was saying boring for me too because I have the same exact prediction.
Yeah, I think we all do. It's just the AL is a little more fun to talk about. There's a little bit more of a realistic race going on over there.
Yeah, but is it? Well, I didn't even want to get to. We did way too early playoff predictions, way too early World Series. I mean, is it just obvious that it's going to be a National League team? I mean, the American League at this point doesn't look like it has a chance.
I mean, I think if you get a team like, you know, the Mariners or the Astros, um, catching fire late, who knows? Same thing with like the Blue Jays or the Tigers. I think those American League teams. I think are a lot of fun, and there's a lot of young pieces in there. Even the Red Sox that could, somehow get in there if Marcelo Meyer's fine. There's a lot of young talent with the Red Sox where their future's actually looking pretty good right now. But I mean, who knows? It's baseball. Anything can happen.
Well, I know Zach, you're probably like me too, and I guess like Zane and Ty, that's not on today's podcast, but I'm looking forward to the National League playoffs. I mean, those are going to be some epic games.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Some really good baseball will be played on the National League side come October, and that's fine. They can beat up on each other. Just let the Mariners keep playing the on the weaker side. That'd be fine.
Yeah,
So
I mean,
what happens?
that's the other factor into all this. Like that's how the American League team could end up winning the World Series. Is if these games start going to 6-7 games, then you got to use bullpen arm after bullpen arm. They're going to go into the World Series gassed.
High leverage games for sure.
Yeah,
And
everything's going to be close. Everything's going to be tight.
yeah, that's what happened to the Mariners in that. Was it the 2001 series when they broke the record for 116 wins, most wins in a season? They went into the playoffs and they were just gassed. Like they were winning so much, and then they get in. I think they won the first series, and then they got knocked out because they just had like so many high leverage wins, all back to back to back to back to back. Like if you get an American League, early series, and you're just like sweeping, you're not using your fourth, fifth starter, and you're just getting 3 wins and advancing, 3 wins and advancing. Whereas these National League series, they're all going 5 games, 7 games. Like that's going to make a big difference compared to an American League team that are just kind of rolling through the playoffs.
Good observation in our way too early predictions for the 2025 playoffs. Hey, Zane, before we take off here, we were talking off air about the big signing for the Red Sox. Looks like there's a player getting a good payoff and an interesting move for the Red Sox for the future.
Yeah, the Red Sox extended Roman Anthony, which is, some people are like, oh, wow, how can you do that? He's 21 years old, has only been in the big leagues for 2 months. But that's just kind of great business decision for the Red Sox. I personally thought he should have been on the opening day roster. Like let him go out there, get his feet wet, learn at the big league level, and then really see it take off mid-year and finish strong. But they kind of held out and started him in AAA, and as soon as he came up, he's looked like a veteran the whole time. He's one of the top 20 bats. You go look at his stats, and he's just been phenomenal. He's not chasing. He's taking really good pitches. Everything he hits is hard. Like he's one of the top guys in the league for average exit velocity. Like you watch this guy play. Like I encourage people to tune into a Red Sox game and watch Roman Anthony. Like it's just insane to think that he's 21 years old. Like 21 years old. 3 years ago, this kid was in high school. And now he just signed an extension, and it's a great move by the Red Sox. They have locked down a lot of guys to long-term deals. You got Crochet, Cedar Rafaela, who's having a really good year. Now you got Roman Anthony. They got Trevor Story for a couple more years. Hopefully they can keep Bregman around. Hopefully he doesn't go into free agency after this year. the Red Sox could be pretty good for a really long time. They secured Brian Bayo as well in the rotation. So the Red Sox, it's been a frustrating last few years, but I think it's all led up to this point that they're at right now with the young core that's coming up, and they still have even more prospects to work up the system that are knocking on the door. Like you could see some prospects come in for this playoff push at the end of the year. That Peyton Tolley's one of them. That's a lefty that was pitched at TCU a year or two ago, and he's kind of shot up the ranks of the organization. And everyone's saying he's been a starter, but he could come in and be some bullpen relief for the Red Sox down the stretch. It's been a lot of fun to watch this team, and it was as frustrating as it was over the last couple years. It's exciting to kind of see it all come to fruition this season, and just see it actually finally be like, okay, this is what we were expecting year in and year out, and we're actually getting it. And locking in a guy like Roman Anthony for the next 8 years, you're going to get him through his 20s. It's going to be awesome to watch.
Well, speaking of prospects, Zach, you got to be pretty happy too. The Mariners, they acquired some players, didn't give up a whole lot. They gave up some players. The prospects still look good, and you didn't give up the big draft pick from this year.
Yeah, I mean, they did trade away two guys that I did like, the lefty from Mexico, Jeter Martinez, and then the lefty Brandon Garcia. I really liked both of those guys, but they were both kind of like 15 to 20th ranked Mariners top prospects. And if trading those guys are going to get you what we got in return, even if they are rentals with Suarez and Naylor, you make those trades every single time. And they got to keep kind of like those top 5 prospects that they have, which are like high-end prospects as far as top 100 prospects go. The Mariners are just loaded. 2026, they have like 4 legit dudes that they can call up that will make their major league debut next season, and it's going to be super fun. I can't wait. It's going to be, I've been tracking these guys for so long, Dad, like Lazaro Montes, Michael Arroyo, Cade Anderson, Durangelo, Colt Emerson. Colt Emerson will probably be end of the year 2026. But anyways, they have all these prospects on the way. They almost had a deal done to get Johan Duran instead he went to the Phillies, but they almost got him from the Twins, and they were going to move one of their big prospects. He ended up going to the Phillies instead, but for them to keep all their top guys, it's super exciting.
Yeah, and the Tigers played the same game. They didn't give away anything really for the trades that they made. But side note, if anyone is a Tigers fan and you live in Michigan, you get FanDuel. The Tigers have some Thursdays off in the month of August, and FanDuel has decided to put, I want to say, 4 games on prime time on Thursday nights. So you're going to get a chance to see Max Clark and Kevin McGonigal, Briseño, and Lorenzo's the other guy.
So yeah.
Yeah, so you're going to see these guys playing in Double-A Erie, which is kind of cool for Erie to get that exposure across the network, just so we can see these young players. But I'm excited for Kevin McGonigal because he's number 1 on a lot of lists now, and he's past Max Clark, and they're projecting him, speaking of 2026, to being up on the club next year. And I think that's exciting, and hopefully that we have the big payoff next year if we can just somehow squeeze some magic out of still 2025. So, all right, that is all we have, folks, on today's Big League Dreaming, the podcast. Way too early playoff predictions as well. Even we slipped in a way too early World Series reference as well. Zane, anything you want to add before we wrap things up?
Not really. I mean, I'm just excited for the playoffs. I know it's really early for us to be talking playoffs, but I think the playoffs are going to be a lot of fun. I think there's going to be the NL is going to be crazy to watch, like we touched on earlier. It's going to be, a little bit crazy over there. I think the AL is going to be a little bit smoother sailing. So it's going to make for a very interesting playoff, especially come to the World Series.
Sounds good. How about you, Zach? Anything to add before we wrap things up?
Yeah, I misspoke. It wasn't the 2001 Mariners that were gassed going into the playoffs. It was that 90s team that were like way out of it, and they were trying to go for a wild card spot. And Jay Buhner said, "Forget the wild card, let's go for the division." And they got super hot in September, ended up winning the West, going to the playoffs, beating the Yankees, and then they went to that next series against the Cleveland Indians, just absolute toast. We played all those like elimination games essentially for the last 3 weeks of the season, and lost in that second round. So, yeah, 90s baby.
There you go. I remember them well. Zach, why don't you wrap the show up and tell people where they can listen to Big League Dreaming, the podcast, if this is their first time or they're just checking it out and wondering, like, who are these guys? Where can they hear more about the show?
Yeah, thanks everyone for tuning in today. You can find us on anywhere you get your podcasts, Apple, Spotify, and you can see the video versions of all of our podcasts on YouTube. Just search Big League Dreaming or Big League Dreaming, the podcast. Follow us on X, formerly known as Twitter, at BLDpod, at BLDPOD. Ty set up a TikTok account for us too, so you can check us out over there, or email us, bigleaguedreaming@gmail.
All right. Have a great evening, everyone, or a great day, or a great morning. Whenever you listen to the podcast, we'll see you later.
See ya.